Thank you for coming back to Council Connections. I'm Kieran Kobeck, your host, and we are thrilled to have with us Honorable Fred Smalls from Ward 2. Thank you so much for coming in and taking the time out to fill in your constituents on what you've got going on.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just jump right into it. First off, I'd say let's talk something you've been involved with since its inception. Back to school night, the back to school jam that we have. That's coming up, and that's a big one for you, the council, and the mayor. Lots of stuff going on. You really seem to, get out there and connect with the community. And why don't you fill in our viewers with what is going to be happening that evening?
Absolutely. I'm going to start with just a little bit of background. This event was started about 6 years ago now. That was an idea that I came up with and brought in the Board of Trade, Matthew Coates, and others. And from that, we wanted to not only give the kids in our community, needy kids, school supplies, but we also wanted to bring the families out. Right. We wanted to also utilize our stage at Goody Lake, Goody Park, so that we bring some entertainment, service to kids who needed school supplies, and just have a day of fun outside.
And this is great, because what it also does is it helps give kids a nice foundation to go back to school with because of what you offer them.
That it does. So this year, August 18th, Saturday, August 18th, we're holding our 6th annual Back to School Jam. This will be in the evening rather than where we've had in past years it's been afternoon. And I'm reminded that on a couple of years we've had some of the hottest summer afternoons on record. So we're switching it up a little bit. This is primarily now being led by the Board of Trade with the Association of the Mayor and City Council, our various departments. It couldn't be done without the involvement of our police department, our public works, parks and recreation, and others, as well as local businesses.
Right.
We're very, very pleased to have the continued involvement of many of our local businesses. So the idea is going to be a family fun afternoon. There'll also be booths or tables, I should say, that will be set up for information. Laurel Hospital is involved, and other local businesses that will have tables for information. And it'll end with not just the giveaway of school supplies, but also a movie.
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
So what do they get to see?
Don't know yet. It'll be a surprise.
Oh, okay. It's going to be a surprise for everyone. Okay.
Yes.
So basically it'll start in the afternoon. You'll be giving out the bag of school supplies. You'll have information around and fun things for families to do.
Yes.
And then around the time that it starts getting dark, you're going to start having the movie. And then it's over when the movie's done.
It's over when the movie's done.
It sounds like fun. How can you not come out to this? You've got to make sure you mark your calendars today for August 18th and come on out to Laurel Lake and make sure that you take part of this, because this is going to be a fantastic day.
And I'd like to suggest, as people are driving around the city, notice our message boards that are all over the city. They do announce not only this event, but other events that are taking place around the city, and information that's necessary for the community to know as well. So just pay attention to the boards and you'll get the dates and times.
Great. Thank you for mentioning that. We appreciate it. Now, we're talking about the stage down at Laurel Lake. It is now the Harrison Burton Memorial Stage.
Yes.
Thank you very much for making sure that the 4th of July committee member Kay Harrison was commemorated that way. I know her family greatly appreciates it as well. But you'd like to see some more things happen down there. So yes. What are you asking the viewers and your constituents to do?
Well, few people are aware that Kay Harrison worked with us on the first couple of years for our Back to School Jam. She provided some very needed expertise in organizing.
She definitely knew her stuff.
But what I'd like to reach out to the community to give us some ideas and suggestions. We have a beautiful stage there that is largely underutilized. One of the ideas I've had that I'm tossing about is perhaps some kind of a gospel explosion. Musicians, gospel singers, gospel groups to come out on a Saturday afternoon, maybe sometime in September if we can pull it together, or maybe we'll arrange it for next year. But the point is, I'd like to get ideas from the community on ways to utilize our stage. It's a wonderful asset with a beautiful backdrop of the lake, and it's just begging for some kind of continued use. So I'd encourage anyone with any suggestions or ideas. There are a number of youth groups, performing arts groups, anything that would just put feet on the stage.
Right.
I'd love to see that happen.
And who can they contact?
They can contact me directly. They can contact me through the council office or directly on my cell phone. My cell phone's on all the time, 301-830-0225. 301-830-0225.
All right, you got it right here. You want to make sure to give him a call if you have a great idea that can utilize that stage down at Laurel Lake. While we're talking, okay, so we've got that. Now let's move to another side where there's some more development that's happening, and I believe it's off of Conti.
All you have to do is drive
And you'll
down
see
Van
it.
Dusen, drive down Conti. Development in Ward 2 is booming. We have West Side, that development that is continuing to grow. We have coming a Royal Farms that'll be opening in Ward 2.
Oh, yay.
And everyone, when I say Royal Farms, says yay about the chicken. I've never had it.
Really? Oh, the chicken really is good. It really is. I just had it for dinner the other night, so
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
But there's also other development. Just recently, I sit on the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission approved a preliminary site plan, just conceptual, I should say, for a development 26 single-family homes that will comprise Conti Crossing 3.
Okay.
So that'll be in the area on Conti Road surrounding the mosque and backing up to the other Conti Crossing developments. Community members came out and spoke of their approval and offered up a number of suggestions.
Good.
Some of their concerns involve making sure stormwater is managed properly. One of the amenities that the developer is going to add to this project is a play area.
Nice.
And having talked with many of the residents in that general area, that's an amenity that's missing. Their kids in each one of those Conti Crossing developments, there's no playground. There's no play area for the kids. So this project, adding a play area is going to be a plus because it'll be a public play area.
And that's going to help tremendously because that way the kids will have some place to go. And you'll get to, the other thing nice about playgrounds is families get to meet and get to know each other, have a good time. But it's also, you had, in us talking prior, you had mentioned it's a walkable community, which we've got a number of them around town, but this on the other side in Ward 2 is going to be a nice addition.
One of the things that the mayor and council, in regards to development, along with the Planning Commission and our planning department, have stressed is wanting to make our communities, again, particularly in Ward 2, walkable. Ward 2, as most of us know, is made up of what I'll call controlled communities. They're townhouse or single-family home communities that are unto themselves. So making our communities connected so that people can walk through them. There would be bike paths, walking paths, and just means to bring not just the communities together, but link them to nearby shopping. The concept when the shopping center at Conti and Route 1 was developed was that concept, that the communities that are developed along Conti would be walkable to the shopping center. So we want to keep that as part of the overall approach in developing residential properties in that area as well as retail. And taking that a step further, when we look at the West Side community and those communities that are just off Conti Road, we want to, as best we can, connect those communities as well.
And it also not just only connects the communities, it connects the city. Because
Yes.
if you have those paths that can go all the way from Conti over to Riverfront Park,
Yeah.
the whole city
Yeah.
can then become one big walking area, which is what I know you and the other council members and the mayor are always looking
Very much.
forward. Now, there are some things near and dear to your heart, you told me, we need to touch upon. Now, of course, we've got the hospital that is in Ward 2. You also said public transportation is something that you are always keeping an eye on.
Yes.
Making sure, finding ways to bring that more into the city, and affordable housing.
Yeah.
So let's start with the hospital.
Start with the hospital. The mayor's been out in front for a number of years advocating to keep our hospital available to the needy residents of our community at large.
Right.
With that, the hospital remains open, but the progress that's being made is something that is, for lack of a better word, stunning. What's being planned now, and I sit on the campus development community with the University of Maryland Medical System, a small group that we are working to actually develop that campus. So what will happen, and Senator Rosapep is one of the members, and when I use this term, he'll cringe, but it's technically called a freestanding medical facility.
Okay.
That structure will have operating rooms, 2 operating rooms. It will have a full-service emergency department. It will have observation beds, etc. It's an outpatient facility. It will be once completed. Once that freestanding medical facility is completed, the existing hospital will come down. Okay. There are 25 acres of developable property on that campus. And one of the efforts that the committee that I'm working with will be undertaking is identifying uses on that campus.
Okay.
And it's the possibilities
The
are
sky's the
endless.
limit.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And I know you're looking forward to seeing that start happening.
Yes, we are. We are. The University of Maryland Medical System is being very public about the development of the freestanding medical facility. There's all kinds of information that's available. There's a timeline as to when services will begin to close at the existing hospital, and a transition plan. And also what's very important is a staffing plan.
Great.
What will happen to the staff who are presently employed by the hospital, retraining opportunities, transfer opportunities. So there has been no stone left unturned when it comes to the complete transition from a Laurel Regional Hospital to the freestanding medical facility as it relates to not just the offerings that will be made, the healthcare offerings at the freestanding medical facility, but how the employees will be managed.
So what was Laurel Regional and what will become the UMMS Laurel Regional. So, I mean, that's what it is now, but
Yeah.
the way you're going to build it up, it's just going to be like,
Oh, it'll be a state-of-the-art facility. Yes, yes, yes.
Public
Now,
transportation.
Public transportation. One of the things that I've heard in the years that I've been a member of the council is a lack of public transportation. And I'm, and just without going too deep into it, the city contributes funds to the regional transit system, RTA. I'd like to see that enhanced and further supported with the county. The county has a pretty robust bus system that runs through central and southern parts of the county. I'd like to see some of that become a part of a bus system.
Kind of mesh
here
it
in the
all
city.
together.
I drove past and I do this all the time, but I drove past a gentleman standing at the bus stop on a Sunday afternoon, this past Sunday. And I wondered to myself, I wonder how long does he actually have to stay there and wait for a bus. Now, I know what's driving the scheduling for buses is ridership. And if there aren't people riding the buses, then they're not going to service any routes.
Right.
But I think that we can step up our efforts here in the city in working with the county and encouraging the county and our neighboring counties, Anne Arundel and Howard, to help us support a more robust public transportation system.
I mean, there are so many people in the area, and I do see a lot of people standing at the same whenever I drive by. There are a number of people. I haven't been by on a Sunday, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the week doesn't require, because if we're talking about, walkable communities, during the weekends it's nice if they walk there, but you've got people that need those buses to get to their jobs, to get to family members' homes, to drop off their kids or whatever. So that sounds like a really good plan.
We'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll see what we can get done.
And then let's move into affordable housing.
Many residents who live in the city, grew up in the city, have had Laurel as their home for many, many years, would like to stay in the city but move up in terms of the housing, whether they're in an apartment or they're in an older home. Look around the city, and the city is booming when it comes to residential offerings. However, many of them are pricey.
They're priced out of range for
And
people.
they're priced out of range for many people. While the city has been very active in some of the programs that require developers to set aside a certain number of units in multi-family dwellings, I'm going to try to move forward to do a little more. It's everything right now for me with that is in the planning stages, so there's not much for me to give away at this point. But the important piece is to let folks know who are viewing that that's something that's on our radar screen. We've heard people, we've heard their concerns, and we've heard their interest in having some kind of affordable housing so they can enjoy some of the amenities that folks who earn a bit more that are able to afford. So it's something that we're certainly looking at and working with the mayor and working with my colleagues on the council and the administration. Hopefully we'll come up with a plan sometime soon that will help address that.
So keep your ears out, keep your eyes out, especially to the mayor and city council meetings, because this is where that would be announced. So you want to make sure, if you are one of those that have spoken with the mayor and council that this is something you want, you heard it here first. They are working on it. You want to stay tuned and make sure to keep your ears open, right?
That's right.
Is there anything else? That's a lot right there. You all are very busy as usual, but I know in the month of August, is you do go into what do they call, like a moratorium, where the meetings are canceled so everybody can enjoy the end of their summer. But is there
Is
anything?
that what happens?
That's what I'm going to say, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, council work continues.
Always.
We work all the time. And whether that's just talking one-on-one with constituents or answering phone calls or just following up on a number of things, while we may not be meeting, please rest assured that our council and mayor are constantly
Always working.
I just like to just kind of point out, and it's something that you see as you move around the city, how diverse our city is.
Yes, it is.
And with that, when I talk about diversity, I talk about gender, age, race, diversity, ethnic background. With that comes a wealth of talent, expertise, and experience. And I just like to encourage members of our community to be engaged.
Yep.
The city, you find the mayor always in City Hall in the Park and other venues where he's talking about volunteering, getting involved with the city. Our city can only be as good as we all make it, not just the mayor and council, not just the administration, but the residents as well. So I just like to encourage folks to call City Hall and find out what kind of opportunities are there. This studio is run in part by volunteers. Many of our committees are all volunteer committees. Get involved. I just encourage folks to do that.
And you've got a lot of the theaters, too, on Main Street.
That's correct.
That, they bring us some wonderful plays every year.
Arts Council, a number of things. So largely whatever someone's interest may be, I think we could probably find a committee or a project that they could get involved in.
And there is so much to learn from each other that you've got to get out there, meet your neighbors,
Right.
come to the different meetings, and make sure, like you said, get involved.
Yes.
That way we can all learn from one another and figure out how we can help each other.
Exactly.
Is that all you have? It's not just all, but is that it? You've brought
No,
a
it's
lot
not
of
all I
information.
have, but
A lot of information.
yeah, I think that's for now. Yeah.
And we'll-
yeah, but I'd love to have the opportunity to come back soon and share more with our community.
All the time, anytime. You're always welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, well, thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Council Connections. We had wonderful sit down with Honorable Fred Smalls from Ward 2. It's a pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Now, of course, this show is always going to be on Laurel YouTube. You want to make sure to follow us because not only do we have this show, but we have a lot of wonderful other local stories that are on our YouTube channel at Laurel TV Official. We also have our website, laureltv.org. That's where you can sign up to volunteer or see what else we have going on, as well as see what our programming schedule is for Laurel TV. We also have the Laurel TV Facebook page. We typically will post links to that and different things that we have going on in the studio and within Laurel TV and all the different producers that we have that are out there working continuously to make sure to bring all the local stories to you. And then we have @LaurelTV.org, which is our Twitter handle, so you want to make sure to follow us there as well. If you have any show ideas, we're always wanting, just like Honorable Smalls wants your ideas for what can happen on the stage, we want to see what can we do, to bring the stories to you. What story ideas do you have? So make sure to call us, 301-725-5300. Or again, if you go to laureltv.org, you can always email us your ideas from there as well. So just make sure, keep on watching, keep on sending us your ideas, and make sure that you are always connected with us. That's the way we want it to be. We want to make sure to keep bringing the stories to you. So until next time, we'll see you around town.